Tropical Storm Sally is forcing emergency managers in Terrebonne to prepare for the possibility of storm surge for the second time in less than a month. Earl Eues, the Parish Director of the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, is joining us now to talk about the preparations that are underway. So just give us an idea of what the latest preparations are in Terrebonne Parish.
Good morning, Paul. We've been meeting, Unified Command Group met yesterday to decide on what we need to do with Tropical Storm Sally, which will become Hurricane Sally. You know, we've been pumping down our drainage system the last couple of days, making sure it's at levels to sustain any rainfall that we may get from this. The Terrebonne Levee and Conservation District has started closing some of their gates beginning at 6 o'clock this morning to protect us from the storm surge. We'll continue to monitor that situation and continue to close more gates throughout the day today. They've also been shoring up some of the levee systems around the parish after Marco and, you know, some of the effects from Marco. So we're in pretty good shape here in Terrebonne Parish. The storm has moved closer to us. It looked like it's going to be about 50 miles east of us. Just want to warn the residents of the parish to not to pay attention directly to where the storm's going to make landfall, because there'll be impacts outside of that area.
And are there any evacuation orders, whether they be voluntary or mandatory, for the parish just yet?
Not at this time. We have another Unified Command Group meeting this morning at 10:30 after the 10 o'clock advisory that comes out to make those decisions. But I would warn residents that are outside the Morganton to the Gulf levee system to start preparing for at least a 1 to 3 foot storm surge, is what the National Hurricane Center is predicting. So if you have any assets on the outside of the Morganton to the Gulf levee system, you should take today to prepare for some type of storm surge.
Yeah, it looks like today is going to be an okay day weather-wise. What should people do exactly to prepare for this storm?
Well, hopefully, you did some of those preparations for Marco and Laura 2 weeks ago, so you should have most of your preparations done. But you need to pick up things that are outside that may fly around, because we are going to experience some tropical storm force winds Monday evening, especially on the east side of our parish. So residents should pick up any object that they think would fly around. We're also encouraging residents to please clean out the storm drain around their storm drain near their homes today. And also, if you see any blockages in any of the drainage ditches around your home, to please call the parish to let us know that that drainage blockage needs to be taken care of.
All right, that's Earl Eues in Terrebonne Parish. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Paul.